All right, well, welcome to our last match of the week here, week 5. We had our supersized 80 card decks, and we got our supersized feature matches with an extra one this week. We got the battle of the why nots here. Why not Rock against, why not Tony? Why not Rock against Caleb on the other side there. And Justin will be telling us all about his hand. So what's Caleb looking at here?
Uh, Currently not much. He's decided to mulliganing between or and keeping. He has a one lander with Ominous Parcel, which does require to get a land. But if he has that land drop, he can pop the Ominous Parcel for his third land drop. He has Cram Session, Sculptor of Winter, uh, Teach by Example, and Dark Bargain. So he decides he's gonna take the
Okay.
risk and pray to draw that second land on being on the draw.
Okay, so he was running a teamer deck, I think the last times that we saw him. Or no, well, last time we saw him was last week when he was playing his red deck in in the Eldraine. But before that, he was running Teamer. So Tony's doing quite well here. He's 16-8 uh, right now, so he's firmly in the top 8 and looking to push into that final week with 17 wins, which would put him, I believe, just under Johnny and pretty much above everybody else, more or less. So he has Grixis deck here. Mountain and Swamp are in hand. Another land he drew. He has Eerie Soul Tender, Vanquish the Weak. He has Broker's Veteran, and he has, I believe it's Everquill Phoenix, but with the Destroya, perfect life form alternate art there
Okay,
from
so the
Ikoria.
Godzilla arts.
Yeah, it was the one where if you mutate it, you get a feather token that brings it back once.
Yep.
Yeah, so he's
So
deciding what he wants
Caleb
to
did
do
find his second
here.
land.
Um, he might just. I was gonna say you vanquish. Usually when you want to vanquish the weak, like you want to kill the mana dork, but without a snowland. But the ominous parcel guarantees a snowland, so
Yes.
he might just vanquish the weak here. Old bolt the bird here, even though it's 3 mana. I mean, playing an eerie soul tender is fine, but I
Yeah, your
think he
3-1
might
doesn't
want to
really
move.
especially pair up with this 2-2.
Yeah, so Tony has an embarrassment of riches, particularly in blue, which he was playing as his base color last week when he stomped me. He does have a Valky slash Tybalt as well there, where
Oh,
in
okay,
a
yeah.
previous feature match we saw him take his opponent's Valky with his own Tybalt. So you know
Yep. Yeah, we did.
when you can't when you think you can't demoralize someone further, you do that. Yeah, so here comes the parcel. Yeah, so he decided to leave the Sculptor of Winter in play. He said at worst, he gets to cast a 2-drop this turn with his Snowland. He's not ramping
Okay,
into a 4-drop at least.
so like everyone, Caleb is playing all 5 basic land types in his deck.
Well, not like everyone, but yeah.
Like in our
He
previous match,
yeah,
we saw
so
earlier
he's
today.
either splashing or has domain cards or things that care about him producing multiple colors.
He seems to be mostly a Sultai based deck though, so as Caleb likes to do with his Sultai value piles.
Yeah, I forgot about that. I haven't seen him playing Sultai in a while, but I think it's mostly in the mega drafts he trends towards that. So now he's going to get rid of the Sculptor of Winter. Doesn't want him to play some big scary thing because he doesn't really actually have removal in his hand. Just a Broker's Veteran, the Phoenix there in Godzilla form, and 2 lands here. Yeah, so once again we're
Phoenix, I
seeing
believe
decks
it's
with blue and black in them.
yeah, it's just the nature of the format. I think it's just so biased towards blue and black, just because of how much longer the games will tend to be and how much better off blue and black decks are in the longer game in accordance to the other colors.
Yeah, we've really seen that this week, and me even in my matches and other games that have been streamed, it's just been a lot of people going this way. It's actually Urborg Repossession, not supremely impactful here, but completely fine. And I
It's gonna make
guess
sure Caleb definitely gets his land drop for the next few turns if needed.
yeah. All right, so he's gonna go ahead and mutate here while he knows he won't be blown out. And so unless this gets exiled or pacified, it can come back from the graveyard if it dies.
Yeah, all he really has is ominous parcel here to really try and kill it, but even that doesn't not answer.
Yeah, I think
Maybe
you
he has
want a
a run of
better.
vortex in his deck.
I think you want a
But he has
better.
micromancer.
think you want a better answer than that. Oh, he has a Micromancer. Yeah, that's fun. I know in the previous iteration of his deck he had Shivan Fire and Strangle to go get, but looks like he's moved away from Reds. But I'm sure he still has some good things to do. I think he just wants to hit his land drops here still. I mean, he's at 19. He could take a couple more hits before it becomes urgent to remove. And Tony over here, he just has 2 lands and a Broker's Veteran, a 2/1 here. So he's this 4/4 is the only source of pressure. I mean, Caleb doesn't know that, but you know,
It I mean, this 4/4 is kind of protected even more, considering the thing it's mutated on is the Soul Tender, which can just bring it back for 5 mana.
you can bring it back
To his
even
hand at
after it
least.
dies again. Yes,
Yeah,
and then he can mutate it again.
yeah. Oh no, he can't because there's only a Broker's Veteran, and that is a human.
Well, he'll have to draw a non-human at some point. I'm sure he's
Yeah,
capable of doing this. So here's a
black and
plains.
blue, not known for its human colors.
Oh, the reason why he's playing all these lands is the Field of the Dead. I'm remembering now.
It's true,
That's why he has
but
play.
I
He
think
probably has plains, snow-covered plains, mountain, snow-covered mountain.
no, I only saw one snow-covered plains and mountain. I think.
Yeah, but like one like plains, a plains and a snow-covered plains, a mountain and a snow-covered mountain, or something like that. Anyway,
Okay, so
that's I'm now remembering he has the Field of the Dead, which was part of the starting pool. So he may still be splashing something, but at the very least, they help him get zombies.
so Caleb has the option to just like eventually teach by example Dark Bargain. It will hurt a bit, but he will be able to get 4 cards out of his top 6 into his hand.
Yeah, he's gonna need to draw another source of mana here to do that, but he has the
Yeah,
okay, he has the blue here. Yeah,
he has plenty of mana to get it and ways to get it
I mean
between the
this.
Sculptor, the experiment, the Environmental Sciences, and the fort,
I mean,
and another land in his hand.
he definitely does not have to do that yet, though.
Yeah, here comes the Necromancer.
All right, so you get to see all what he has. I mean, he already played his Urborg Repossession, so at least it won't be
Yeah,
that that
the combo that it was in.
the dreaded
Yeah,
combo. Okay, so Shivan Fire, so that is off a splash, but with the environmental sciences, he'll be able to go get the mountain. So
yeah,
Tony can see that if he doesn't have the mountain in his hand, he has access to it. So
it's back.
this 4/4 flying will get killed, but then it can come back to hand with the Soul Tender. So he's got a nice little thing here. So he has a shock in hand, which is why he's attacking into the Micromancer.
I mean, it also just might be worth like just
Yeah, it gets a shield
attacking just
counter
to
on a
get
four
a
four.
counter.
Yeah, it gets
Yeah,
a
like
shield counter as
even if you
four
didn't have
four.
anything.
I mean, he will also just shock here as well, but
Yeah.
unless he decides not to, but yeah, for sure. You was
Well, now Caleb
thinking
will probably have to like teach by example at Shivan Fire if he wants to kill the this 4/4 flyer.
he is just going to kill the sculptor. He's deciding whether he wants to kill the sculptor or the Micromancer. But I think once you've chump attacked your guy in, you're more or less committed to shocking the Micromancer. Like normally this would be a decision that you make before you attack which one you're going to shock, but he's actually going for the sculptor here. So it
Oh
was
well, he's drawn the mountain naturally.
so he was
So
just trading his so he did just trade his 2/1 here for the shield counter.
okay. So if he wants to get rid of this Phoenix, he has to teach by example the kick Shivan Fire.
I think he'll figure it out.
Yeah.
He usually Caleb's usually able to find interesting lines here, and this one is more or less straightforward. First one takes the shield counter off, second one gets the job done. There's a scorching dragonfire off the top, not really doing much right now. He's
No.
probably
Then
gonna.
again, no one is.
So if this 4/4 dies, the Soul Tender will bring it back to hand. So without anything to mutate on, it's just a 4/4 flyer for 4, which is still completely fine to just put on the stack. Obviously, you'd prefer to mutate, but don't think he's going to mutate. Okay, he is just going to actually do this instead of the Shivan Fire. Just look for cards here. He's going to go to 7, though.
So he's gonna get a Spine Megalodon and the Simic Dean off the first one. Then the second one's gonna find him only lands because there's only three. There's three lands.
Huh.
One of them being a desert, so he can't cycle that.
Huh. So
But yeah, not the best second Dark Bargain.
I mean, if you copy the Shivan Fire, he gets it back in his hand, but you're still at 11. He's at 7 and the thing's in play.
Yeah,
Like, I mean, you got 4 more cards in your hand, but you're at 7 and there's a 4/4 in play, and you're not guaranteed to find an answer to it.
I think that's why he was optimistic he's gonna find an answer to this for whether it be like bounce or like any other burn spell, and they could kill it with Shivan Fire. But like
Yeah.
now he's kind of just pigeonholed himself into kill your opponent before he kills you kind of deal. Because
Which he might be
he
able
does
to
have
do
one
with,
blocker.
with this. Oh, no. Oh, no. I've seen enough of this card today.
Yes. So basically, what could happen is that he could play his format 3/3 his 3/3 fire, which is the backside of the blue Dean,
They can
and
block.
he could block, and then Shivan Fire would finish off the flyer.
Yeah,
But
he'll still have to cast the kicked version, but yeah.
yeah,
Right, so Tony's drawing a nice
yeah,
little
he would
two
have.
for one creature here with the Foulmire Knight.
What is this Foulmire Knight?
So he's gonna send it on the adventure, and he's gonna
Oh, and this Death Touch is going to be kind of brutal against this 5/7
and
because Caleb doesn't have the luxury to Shivan Fire this 1/1. Really,
he's drawn a very interesting card here that he can cast next turn. Jadzi, Oracle of Arcavios. That's one you don't see very often. It's an 8 mana creature from Strixhaven.
oh, but wait, Caleb still has the environmental sciences. He can still go up
Yep,
to 5 life.
yep. No, he can gain the life here. I mean, Tony still has the scorching dragonfire, so if he feels that he's in danger of losing the race here, he can get this Micromancer off the board if he decides to do that.
What does Jadzi do, by the way? What's the Magecraft?
Oh, it does a lot of things. Oh, when you cast an instant sorcery, you reveal the top card of your library, and if it's a spell, you can cast it for 1 mana. And if it's another instant or sorcery, you get to do it again. But basically, if it's like anything, like any creature, you can just cast it for 1. Any spell, you can just cast for 1. If it's a land, you put it into play. And I believe you can discard a card to return it to your hand.
Ah, okay.
You get your 8 mana's worth, I would say. But it is still 8 mana. The Spine Megalodon, yeah. If you saw my match with Johnny earlier, or are planning on watching it at some point in the future, that Megalodon played a pretty big role. And here comes Valky off the top, or T-Bolt. Does not
Okay.
does not solve a 5/7, but
It does mean that he can actually attack now without having to worry about. Because now he can attack if Caleb doesn't block, he can just exile the Dean, and then not have to worry about dying. And then Caleb would literally have to find either a flyer or an answer to this 4/4 flyer.
yeah. So he's put himself in a pretty okay situation here, despite this 5/7. I mean, Caleb, he did have the chance to just get this guy off the board, even with the prospect of it coming back to his hand with the Soul Tender. That still takes a while. Like, he doesn't have 9 mana. He couldn't do it all in one shot. Instead, he decided to dark bargain, lose 4 life, dig for cards, and unfortunately didn't find what he needed to kill the 4/4. He found maybe what he wants to try and win the race, but that's not as dependable as just removing the creature at the time. Yeah, so here comes the flyer, and this is now life or death here.
He kept a Eureka moment on top, so he'll be able to dig for something. And this 5/7 will be able to take out the Tybalt. But yeah, he needs to find something bad.
The shield counter limits the amount of things you can actually interact with it.
Yep. So
Anything that
yeah,
says destroy is just not going to work. There's other There's other cards that you know, could
and he
could
found
deal
one of
with
the
it.
ways to. He found a way to deal with it. He found out of the way, which will bounce it.
Okay, well that's pretty good for him, and he gets to kill this planeswalker.
Yeah, but then now next turn he can just play both the flyers. He could play a 4/4 and a 3/3 that he got off. and then now there's two flyers to deal with.
Yeah, the blue. Yeah, the owl on the backside there.
Yeah.
So what's Caleb thinking about here?
Oh, so he's just gonna ignore Valky instead.
Okay,
He also gets to decide if he could give opponent strangle. Here he revealed strangle and he give the opponent strangle from the Valky.
interesting. Yeah, I'm always afraid to let something something as powerful as T-Balt live, especially when I have a pretty much a free kill. Like I mean, he has one mana up and one card in hand, so it's pretty much guaranteed kill on it.
Yep.
He's gonna Jewel Thief. Probably best to cast out of the way now,
Yeah,
so he doesn't get
you kind of
countered.
countered. Yeah.
Like Tony is he is base blue, so getting countered is just loses the game. So let's see if he decides to fire it off now or
Does the Phoenix
see.
Feather give it haste by any chance?
I don't believe it gains haste, but I believe you could reanimate it back into play at instant speed, but it won't gain haste. You could do it
So
like
here,
on opponent's end step and then attack when you untap. Yeah,
so
he's
here
just
it
gonna ghost it
comes.
now. Just
So
the
he's gonna
safe
draw the
play.
strangle.
Uh,
Oh, strangle works on planeswalkers.
yep.
I forgot about that. So he can actually kill
Aha.
it.
Okay, so he knew what he was doing the whole time. We forgot. Well, there's your elemental masterpiece off the top, which I think he
Uh,
has to cast that rather than.
we can play both flyers. The thing is,
He
Caleb has
has
a
to block
broker's
both.
ascendancy. Yeah, Caleb has a broker's
Broker's
ascendancy.
ascendancy. Oh boy.
So he's forced to basically trade off with the Jewel Thief and uh, just chump the Megalodon. But I think the play is still just play both flyers because that
Yeah.
still basically gets you the win when you block both. So Caleb's drawing a land, so not gonna find anything helpful off the top. His other card is Reclaim the Waste, which is not gonna do
No, that
anything
just
much.
that just draws more lands, of which he does not require at this time.
Oh, he didn't play the Broker's Ascendancy.
The Broker's ascendancy triggers at end step.
Oh, I thought it was combat. Okay, never mind. I'm just
Oh, you thought it was better than it already was. Yikes.
yeah. I mean, I expected this busted card to do more.
Yeah.
You know,
It doesn't do
and
enough. It doesn't do enough apparently, but
no.
he's not gonna show it here. He's dead to the flyer. So yeah, that flyer coming back and getting a shield counter and just Caleb did have a window to kill it, but opted to dig for cards instead, and that flyer just stayed in play. I mean, it got bounced, but it came right back.
I mean, yeah. It's just all it came down that to basically just like he took like a variance thing, and that's that kind of bit him a bit in the butt there.
Yeah, Caleb is somebody who is very aware of what's in his deck. I think he could have probably if he did not have like a deck, like a screenshot of his deck up like next to him, you know, he could probably figure out quickly how many things he had in his deck that could deal with that, and figure that seeing six cards, he had a good shot of finding something.
Yeah.
Because
Although when
because
looking at
because
his deck
taking
now,
because
like
taking 4 damage when you're at 11 and there's a 4/4 flyer with a shield counter in play, like that's a risky proposition. So you have to be pretty confident that there's enough things you can find.
yeah, I'm looking at his deck though, and the really only true answers to that was like Icebind Pillar and like the Out of the Way.
Oh, okay.
Nothing. I mean, I'm looking at it quickly. The image is not very high quality, so I can't make out most of the
Okay.
cards sometimes.
Yeah.
Uh, but from what I can see, those were the main answers.
Yeah. I mean, it's possible. I would say it's not likely, but it's possible you just didn't see that as a line that you could copy your burn spell and the first, the one that resolves first just removes the shield counter and then you get to kill it. That might not have crossed his mind. Looks like Tony's thinking about a miscast here. That's That's a deep cut there.
Yeah,
So
I don't see it being that bad. Like when this match revolves around like card when matches like these revolve around card draw, just counting a card draw spell can put you miles ahead, honestly. Especially when you're countering it for 1 mana.
yeah, so he has gone for it. I mean, I believe it counters an instant or sorcery unless they pay three for 1 mana. It's very very specific to the point where it's doesn't see play in anything really. But when you side it in, hopefully it's good. He took out a Raven form. I guess he just didn't see anything that that would be good against.
Sure.
I'm kind of more in the like I had two Raven forms in my pool, and I was siding them in rather than starting with them because blue black. It's not really the deck to be able to remove artifacts.
Okay,
So
well, Caleb has drawn
yeah,
his namesake piece. He's drawn the Field of the Dead with, and every land he has in his hand is different. So he
all
will be
right,
having that online on turn 7.
I'm into it.
And we've seen in the past how like the Field of the Dead free 2/2s every turn just adds up to being a whole lot of just bad news for the opponent.
Yeah, so Tony is able to play stuff now, but his ability to play things will end if he doesn't draw a swamp or more lands here because he's got two black cards. He's got a Merfolk Falconer, 4/4 flyer for 5, and a Bergstrider. And yeah, this is Varagoth Bloodsky Sire. That's not
Yeah,
what you want to see here. That thing going unchecked is pretty bad.
he gets a
Here,
tutor. He basically just gets a tutor every time it attacks.
like usually that card just trades for a 3/2 or a 3/3 and tutors, but here it's actually going to be able to tutor twice, really, unless Tony draws a land for his Bergstrider.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it will sting a bit because he has to pay. He has to use a Caves of Koilos, but like you'll take the 1 life for like
well, yeah, you
a
get the
tutor to
tutor.
your hand.
Well, a tutor's on
People,
top. A tutor's on top.
oh, tutor's on top. Okay,
Yeah, I think they would
okay,
have to be like a mythic or something if a tutor got in your
and
hand.
probably more expensive if a tutor to
Or
your hand.
much worse power toughness compared to mana
Besides
cost.
that, just wants to develop the board,
Okay, well, there you go.
taking the more aggressive approach, which it's a good approach as well. Your opponent is like not doing very much, and maybe just seizing control of the board is more important than getting the best card in your deck on top.
Yeah, well, he saw lots of black cards last game, and there's no black mana, so he's thinking, let me get while the getting's good here. Um, yeah, so Tony can just absolutely not cast anything. He has two black cards. He has another black card in exile from being foretold, the Vengeful Reaper, and he has two five blue 5 drops. So
I mean, luckily,
what's Caleb looking to do this turn?
well, like like our previous match, he's a man of real estate.
Uh oh.
And so he only has lands in his hand, but the Varagos will make it so he will draw.
Yeah, this is very unlikely to have this many lands in hand. We saw another
Yeah.
match. We saw another match earlier tonight where a player had I think 6 or 7 lands in their hand.
Yeah, I could see him getting like Micromancer, honestly. Just like play Micromancer, kill off your opponent's thing. Then next turn you get to like Var or he's just gonna get Eureka Moment just to get more head on lands and to get that Field of the Dead online next turn.
Oh, did he draw? Did he take the draw spell there?
Yeah, he took the Eureka
Okay,
Moment, so now next turn he can actually get the Field of the Dead online.
I guess he figured the Field of the Dead is maybe more valuable than like any one spell he can get because it's basically a free spell every turn.
Yeah. So unlike our previous match, he actually has a use for his real estate. He gets free tenants
There you go.
out of them. Yeah.
I don't know if those are the tenants you want on your property, but
Yeah. If the tenants he's gonna get.
I don't know if they're particularly reliable paying rent here.
If they pay in your opponent's blood, it's pretty nice.
I think the zombies are more out for brains than blood, but
Oh yeah,
yeah,
I guess that's true.
they'll bring you back something. There you go. All right, so he's going to tutor again here. Yeah, this Vargoth is usually my experience with this card, having played it and played against it, is either it gets removed or it trades for something and gets you to tutor one card, which is still good. It doesn't put you up a card, but it gets whatever the best card that you would want to draw is on top of your deck. But yeah, now we're seeing what happens when it's fully powered. So Bergstrider's gonna gonna tell him to cool down here for a moment. I don't think this is gonna be quite the Chris York deck where we saw all the frost creatures, but we see two of them in play here. Yeah,
Yeah,
so he
now
has
Caleb just has some gas.
yeah, so Tony still he has a removal in hand, the Mage Hunter's Onslaught. He has Race
Okay.
the Draugr, which isn't going to do much yet. Um, I don't know if Bergstrider is an elemental, but I think it's a wizard, and so is Frost
It's a
Trickster.
giant. Yeah, it's a giant wizard.
Okay, so it shares a creature type with Frost Trickster if that ever comes up, but he has a Merfolk Falconer as well in his hand. Oh. Right, so here's the Micromancer, which he didn't tutor but drew naturally. Is that?
No, he tutored it with the Vargoth. That was the thing he put on
Oh, he
top.
oh he tutored it this turn. Okay, good.
Yeah,
All right, so he's really clicking here. He's one of
Seared
the
Fire gonna come
few
down.
people that can actually turn a land of six hands into a potentially winning spot here.
I mean, hopefully your opponent doesn't cast anything for most of the game.
Well, he was casting things for the first few turns, but then he stopped because he wasn't trying black mana. So he gave Caleb enough
Yeah.
time to get everything on the line. I'm just gonna cast this 2/2 here. I think it can. I forget all what it does, but it puts cards into exile, and you can make fractals equal to the amount of cards you exiled with it. Something like this.
Yes, it puts non-land cards to exile and land cards go into your hand,
Yeah,
I believe. And then
something
your
like this.
fractals you make fractals equal amount of cards exiled with it.
Yeah. I mean, he's just playing it as just another piece of pressure. Like he had 3 mana left. He'll cast it. It's nothing special, but yeah.
What you're telling me the game's not ending with a flying double strike Bergstrider?
Let me check his hand here. Nope.
Okay.
He's got
What is in his hand, by the way?
he's got the Merfolk Falconer, raise the Draugr to get back Frost Trickster here. Mage Hunter's Onslaught, Giant's Amulet.
Okay, so yeah, not the answers that he needs,
Yeah,
but
he took. Yeah, this is like not what you want to do with your turn. Bring back your Frost Trickster and cast it so that you don't get attacked by one of the creatures. Um, he's trying to make sure that he's not going to die this turn. But
here comes the star of Caleb's deck.
oh, well, that's the star of every deck that it's in.
Yeah.
Come on. I mean,
He's gonna plan strategically now.
I
Look
should
at
I
that.
should have given John a harder time earlier about bottoming that during his game, but it's
Yeah.
okay. It's okay. He won, so
Well,
no harm, no foul.
so much is going on with Caleb's hand right now. He's just gonna solve some equations now after planning things out.
He seems like the type who would want to solve the equation.
I mean, he looked at an equation, was thinking strategically about how to solve it, and now he feels like strangle is the answer. And Tony G agrees.
That's a very
Strangle is the
uncomplicated
answer.
equation. That's a very uncomplicated equation. Yeah.
Strangling is the answer.
Yeah, it's like you're thinking, how do I solve this problem? It's like, oh, just choke him. Yeah. All right, so Tony's not going to do any further sideboarding after bringing a miscast for this game. I mean, if you could nab something like Magma Opus or something with which Caleb, I'm sure, is running.
Like Caleb does not have Magopus in his deck.
Oh,
I don't even think he has it in his pool.
he
Maybe someone else.
definitely has it, from what I remember. unless I'm mistakenly remembering the events of last week.
Yes, I think someone else has the Magma Opus, not Caleb.
Oh,
It might have been Caleb's opponent that had Magma
I was
Opus.
pretty sure that he was running it in his red deck as one of his splashes, but we do a lot of feature matches, so but
Yeah.
I could have sworn.
He brought in he wanted to bring in a test of talents now.
Oh, he wants to counter the miscast with the test of talents.
Yes, yeah. No more miscasting for you.
Yeah, test of talents. I mean, most of the time you don't get to nab extra copies, but just looking at your opponent's hand and their entire deck. I mean, when it's an 80 card deck, maybe not as great, but when you're playing like a 40 card limit, you get to look at your opponent's entire deck. Like that's something. The
Caleb's
card
hand is very awkward.
the card would normally not be main deckable in formats other than Strixhaven, but so
Yeah, yeah.
what's happening over there with Caleb's hand?
Well, he has
Tony's
only
hand's a
green
little
and blue
slower.
lands, but he has a Slimefoot and a Shivan Fire and a Hostile Takeover, and he has a Reclaim the Waste. So he really wants to kick the Reclaim the Waste to get a black and red source. But if opponent does play something that needs to be Shivan Fired, he might just really badly. He might just Reclaim the Waste for a red and kill it off.
So it's a little bit of a risky keep, I would say.
Yeah, it is.
Well, I keep where the fail case is you don't cast any spells or like really get to do much of anything with the spells that you can cast is yeah, it's questionable. So he is not going to be under pressure here from Tony. Tony has a skull raid here. He has two counter spells. Negate Essence Scatter. He has Merfolk Falconer for turn 5, and he has that 8 drop again, Jadzi, the Oracle. He didn't get to play it in the other
Wow.
game,
If
but
if he negates the Reclaim the Waste here, that's gonna be backbreaking for Caleb because he
uh,
really needs the access to red and black here.
I imagine he is absolutely going to counter it. Oh, there's an Icebind
Okay.
Pillar. Okay. And
Each
Tony did not even think twice about countering that, but I think that's what Caleb wanted, right?
Yeah, Caleb wanted to bait it out. I think he realized that if he casts Reclaim the Waste here, he might get countered, and he really doesn't want that to happen. So he throws out a card that he's willing to accept to be countered.
Yeah, because his hand is not functional without it. He's gonna have to
Yep.
drop 2 cards here. So let's see what he chooses.
And you telling me he still has a counter spell up, right?
Well, he has an Essence Scatter,
Okay, so he gets rid of Shivan Fire and Teach by example here, and he's gonna find the black source to put Slimefoot into play. Uh,
yeah. Yeah,
along with
Slimefoot is gonna get countered here, but
well,
not this
not this
turn.
turn
But
because he's just gonna get
okay.
the lands he needs.
Well, in that case, Tony's probably gonna resolve his Merfolk Falconer here rather than hold up an Essence Scatter, which is not an efficient use of mana. Right, he's drawing an Academy Journey Mage for a turn, which will actually get discounted here from Merfolk Falconer being a wizard. Lots of wizards running around in this deck.
Okay, so Caleb can either play Slimefoot and do nothing else, or he can hostile takeover to 1-for-1 with the Falconer, which is neither is a good option.
I
So,
don't think the game has gotten to that point yet. I mean, it might. You know, four
oh,
four
double
flyer.
major make.
A 4/4 flyer can't be ignored.
Oh,
But
you can also double major here and make two Slimefoots.
that is a card I have never seen cast in limited. But
Okay, I
very
mean
cool.
this Journey Mage is gonna get a clean kill on the Slimefoot
Yeah,
token. So,
unfortunately, this fun little thing was not going to continue. Yeah, double major. That was a card that was very very hard to use um, in limited. Just like you basically have to find a creature that's worth 2 mana extra in order to make a copy of it and spend a card doing that. Not going to happen too often, but yeah, he's decided he's just going to take a little 2-for-1 here. Get rid of the 4/4 flyer. Tony's trying to experimental overload, so not really. Uh, that card's not really firing in all cylinders just yet. It's just it'd basically be Archaeomancer, right? 4 mana 2/2 get back a spell.
yeah. So he only has Essence Scatter up here, nothing else. The rest
Nope, just
being
Essence
lands.
Scatter. He has a Jadzi.
Okay, so you can cast the Jadzi next turn,
He would
I
have to
believe.
draw land, but yeah. Right, well, off the top comes the miscast, so he
Yeah, it
would be
would have
able
been good
to.
last
Yeah,
turn. Last turn would have been better for the miscast.
yeah. He's just gonna cast this experimental overload here. Basically, be Archaeomancer, which is an old card, 4 mana. I believe it's a 1/2, or is it a 1/2 or a 2/2? But it gets back a spell.
If you get back the Skull Raid, that actually been pretty good for next turn. But
Yeah, Skull Raid would have been nice right here, probably to nab the last 2 cards. But
yeah,
now that he knows about the Skull Raid, Caleb can adjust what he does this turn to mitigate
well he's
it
drawn
as much
Test
as
of
he can.
Talents, so he can just protect his hand.
That makes sense.
Also, Slimefoot particularly good against counter spells. Just sit back and make 1/1s.
Yeah, this is not going to be this is not going to be a simple way to
Yeah, so the Essence
simple thing
Scatter
to
might
play
just get
against.
tested talented,
And then the miscast will come into play here. No, he's just going to allow it.
and then the Skull Race probably gonna have the last two cards because again, like Caleb's board is not too threatening.
Yeah. So if he, what's the other card in Caleb's hand?
So it's Test of Talents and Spined Megalodon.
Okay, so he's trying to protect the spine megalodon here. That's what he's doing. He's trying to make sure that doesn't get discarded. So that's why he allowed the other counterspell to resolve,
Yeah.
right? Because that's what he wants to do. So
So
now this is gonna prompt the counterspell, which is actually gonna get countered by this miscast here. So like I was saying
he
before,
also gets to
miscast very narrow card, but is actually gonna kill this hexproof creature before it can come into play.
he's also gonna draw an extra card because Caleb tried to counter
Yeah,
because of Skull
and
Raid's word.
that 5/7 goes away in the graveyard. Hopefully not to be seen again. Like I said, seen that guy enough today. But
So Caleb's really leaning on the Slimefoot now. He's drawn a land, and Slimefoot's the only thing that's giving him action here.
yeah, but this
If he
Jaxi
finds
could just
removal
take
for
over
it,
the game depending on if Tony
yeah.
draws some if Tony draws spells. If he draws spells, this card can just chain. Because
Oh
if it
yeah, it's a
reveals an instant or
non-land to
sorcery,
non-land.
well,
Yeah.
you have to reveal another. You have to reveal an instant or sorcery to keep going.
Yeah.
But like his 3 drop, his 3 mana instant could find him like a 5 mana creature, right? That he could cast for 1 mana. Right,
Yep.
card's good. I mean,
So
Slimefoot is something that once you have enough tokens, you can just start throwing them at your opponent. And he actually doesn't have a spell to cast here. He has a Disdainful Stroke in hand and another land. So Disdainful
oh that
Stroke will actually trigger Jadzi, and it does let you cast the things virtually at instant speed. So like whatever he reveals, he'll be able to cast on the opponent's turn. But the thing about Slimefoot, and if you play Dominaria, that format had a lot of board stalls. Like you just make 6 or 7 of them, and then eventually you could just start attacking them in like chump attacking, right? It's
yep.
guaranteed damage,
Like
and it begins right here. Yeah, so he's dealing 4 damage. No,
yep.
no matter how you slice it.
Yeah, it's basically just running against the clock here. It's like if Tony can draw a spell but at the moment if the board stays the same, Caleb will just win off of just Slimefoot.
Yeah, this is hard for any one card to stop, and this disdainful stroke doesn't even counter the pinger here. Pinger is extra guaranteed damage, so he's just getting all these. Ooh, okay. Here's a card you're gonna like.
Oh, it's Elemental Masterpiece.
Ah,
Oh
so,
yes, so good with Jadzi right now.
let's see what he can. Let's see if he can find something else here. Okay, so he gets a Foulmire Knight. He can cast either side for 1 mana. He's just gonna cast
So,
that because he's gonna cast the instant side because that's gonna trigger it again. But now he gets a 4 mana 4/4 flying. He does not get the option to mutate, but I mean he still gets it in play, so pretty good. And he draws an island here, and he's casting his
so
Foulmire Knight. So his Elemental Masterpiece found him another card in hand and 2 more creatures thanks to Jadzi. So
the
we
thing
see the
is, there's no.
power. We see the power of what this card does, but you have to untap with it. Like at 8 mana, unfortunately, it doesn't actually do anything until you untap with it.
It's not providing a solution to the problem though. Like Sniper is
No,
still killing him. This fervent paincaster is still
yeah,
killing
and he did
him.
actually take take
Uh,
take a point of damage on his own here from the Foulmire Knight. So an impressive turn, but unfortunately, it kind of just falls flat in the face of these guaranteed damages. Like he's going to
he's a
die
virtual
next
one right
turn.
now.
He's going to
Yeah,
die
he's
next
virtual
turn.
one.
Yeah.
He needs to find removal for Sniper. He needs to find removal for this paincaster, and needs to chain it off Jadzi.
So you're saying he needs a board wipe?
Well, he can find removal into removal with Jadzi.
Yeah, unlikely, but sometimes we've seen unlikely things happen in these matches before. But yeah,
And
Slimefoot
and
this is what it does. It just grinds out your opponent. turn after
I mean,
turn. You just
funny
get more
enough,
tokens.
because of that disdainful stroke, if Caleb actually drew a spell that was able to be countered, like he could potentially draw it into something that could save him. But like because Caleb's not drawing a spell that could counter, it's kind of inadvertently killing him. Also,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So he's that's gonna be it here.
wow. That the point of life is nice, but it's not enough. Like you still go down to two, and then Slimefoot makes two tokens, and you die. Like
Well, he's at one basically from the pinger, right?
yeah, he's at
Because pinger can, it can deal him one damage now, one damage when Caleb untaps, and yeah, we see Jodsy do some powerful things, but this little this little fungus is just is just
rhyme
doing
to
doing
victory.
more here. Yeah, I mean, again, if you didn't play Dominaria, maybe this card looks unassuming, but it plays better than it reads a lot of the time. Just because of the fact that it's guaranteed damage late in the game. Like this is just guaranteed. Like, yeah. So we see Caleb taking this match down thanks to Slimefoot the Stowaway. So congratulations to Caleb. Thanks to all the players in this week's feature matches. We'll see everyone next time.